Omega has just released the new 75th anniversary lines for the Seamaster, and this beautiful range has a stunning, striking dial. The dial on these models is what Omega are calling a summer blue. Now, summer blue basically means that it starts in the center as an icy kind of blue, and as you work your way out, it gets darker until it's almost black. Now, what this actually represents is getting to the depths of the ocean. As you go deeper, the water around you changes and looks darker, and that's what this represents. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Harrison, as always, and this is the Chisholm Hunter channel. If you could hit that subscribe button, I would really appreciate it. But anyway, let's crack straight in to these new Omegas, because quite frankly, I'm an Omega fanboy, always have been, always will be, I think. So let's get in. So let's start at the beginning just here. So the first line that we're looking at the moment is the new Aquaterra 38mm. Now, it does have a more feminine feel to the 41mm. That dial, again, is absolutely stunning. And excuse me if I'm wrong, but it's kind of giving Grand Seiko vibes, am I right? It's kind of got a brushed dial going outwards, and the date window in this model is circular. Now, this is pretty good looking, but it's definitely more of a lady's watch in my opinion. I'm not sure this would suit my wrists. Next up, we have the new male, or well, it's probably unisex, the more masculine looking Aquaterra, and this comes in at 41mm. Now, that beautiful glacier kind of, or summer blue dial spreads out through the teaked dial, and I love the fact that they've got that texture in there. And when you look at the date window, it is squared, or kind of squared slash circulared instead of round. It does give a more kind of masculine feel to this watch. Now, actually, I'm not too hot on this model. I do like the Aquaterra range, but I don't know, it's still giving Grand Seiko. Next up is probably one of the hottest models within this range. It's absolutely stunning, and actually, I've never really thought about getting this watch before because I'm poor and it's too expensive, but it's absolutely stunning. It is the New World Timer, and it has that beautiful blue surrounding the globe in the middle. It's just stunning. There's nothing else really to say about that model. Now we get to the Omega Seamaster, the king under the ocean, the king on my wrist. I'm an Omega fanboy. I have the Great White, or well, technically speaking, it is the Great White, but people are saying it's not the Great White. Is that the Great White? Is it the new version of the Great White? Please let me know in the comments. But I am an Omega fanboy, and I've been waiting for a new Seamaster for such a long time. But what we need to remember about the Seamaster is that the renders online never look the same as when you get it on the wrist. And this was very prevalent in the green dial Omega Seamaster. Online, the renders looked bright. They looked hugely different to what it looked like on the wrist. And actually on the wrist, it looked so much nicer than what it did on the internet. So I wouldn't judge this on what you can see here, although it does look stunning. I reckon it might be a lot darker than what you think. Now, this Omega Seamaster has that summer blue dial, and there's another couple of things that the Seamaster has, as well as the other ones, to celebrate the 75th anniversary. One is a summer blue lume, which looks absolutely stunning, and then you obviously have that green minute hand, but most prevalently, it has a closed case back with the 75th anniversary engravings on it. Now, when we look at the Seamaster, especially when we look at the price on the Seamaster, we can actually see that it's been raised to £5,800. And yes, this is slightly more expensive, but I suppose it is a special edition. And when you look at the price references on the James Bond Omega Seamasters, comparison to the original Omega Seamasters, they've actually gone a lot more expensive than this one. So am I angry about the price? Not really. I think it's kind of justified, and you'd see Rolex doing the same thing, you'd see Grand Seiko doing the same thing, you'd see everyone doing the same thing. I actually bought a watch quite recently. Am I allowed to talk about that? I won't tell you the watch, but I'll tell you that it was the same watch as other models, however, a special edition, and because it's a special edition, it did raise the price very, very slightly. So special editions do tend to raise the price that little touch. The case back on this watch has this beautiful engraving on it. And I think, honestly, that kind of correlates to the price, because this engraving is absolutely stunning. There's no other words for it. And actually, I was talking to my what do I call her? My friend. I was talking to my friend last night, and she is very much not into watches. So maybe, actually, I was talking at my friend the other night, and I was really homing in on this case back because I wasn't sure what I felt about it. I do prefer open case backs, but the engravings on this they're just absolutely stunning. Now remember that the Seamaster is actually the longest lasting line within Omega's arsenal. It has lasted through the ages, through 75 years, and that's pretty incredible. I like the engravings. I like the closed case back, but I wouldn't have chosen it. I think that Omega's movements being COSC and METAS certified plays a big part in why I would want an Omega in the first place. And I love the fact that I can see into the beating heart of my Omega Seamaster that I have on the wrist at the moment. I do understand that this is a special model, a special edition model, so they wanted to do something different, but I would have rather them do something different, maybe with the bracelet, maybe more little details on the dial. I'm not sure I would have totally closed off the case back. I still like it. And actually, I've got no leg to stand on because I love Submariners, and Submariners always have closed case backs. Maybe I'm going mad. The next one that we have is the Seamaster 300 Heritage Edition. Now, please bear in mind, as you get through these Seamaster models, you'll notice that on the dials, they get to a darker shade of blue. And this kind of correlates with the water resistance of the watch. The more water resistant it is, the deeper it can go, the more dark blue gets shown on the dial. So this Seamaster Heritage 300 meters is not my thing. I like it, but I did prefer the classic black that we've reviewed on the Chisholm Hunter channel before. I think that was just a little bit more sexy, but that's just my opinion, and don't let my opinion influence your opinion. Remember, this is just a place to talk about watches openly and respectfully. I do like it, but it's probably not the one for me. Now this, what I'm looking at right now, is very, very cool. It's the new Planet Ocean 600 meters. Obviously, as the name suggests, it can go to 600 meters. And what you'll find on this watch is this beautiful brushed pattern on the dial. It still has the summer blue kind of ish pattern or texture spreading out to the edges of that dial, but it's in this kind of brushed pattern, and I absolutely love that. The specs are more or less the same as what you know and what we've reviewed on the channel before, so I don't want to get into the depths of them, but it's a nice watch. Now this is big. This is the Ploprof Seamaster dive watch. It goes to 1,200 meters in water resistance. It's absolutely ginormous. It would never fit in my wrist, but I feel like if you're wearing a watch that goes to 1,200 meters in water resistance, you want to make an impression. You're probably a diver, and you're probably not worried about the aesthetics of this watch on the wrist. So although this isn't for me, it does look cool. I do like the colorway. I like that they've used blue on the bezel. There's lots of positives to this, but it's chunky. It's very chunky. The Ultra Deep is the last watch within this new plethora of Omega watches, and damn did they knock it out of the park with this watch. If you look on the dial, you'll see this kind of textured marbly dial with that blue running through it. It's just stunning. And to top off, it goes to 6,000 meters underwater. 6,000. That's I can't even think of a comparison. That's mental. Actually, I can think of a comparison. Did you know that blue whales have only been known to have dived up to 500 meters? And this watch can go to 6,000 meters. That's ridiculous. Now, there's something pretty special about this model. There's something, when you look up close and personal at this model, you'll find on the dial. And no, it's not technically the lume on the hands, the lume on the indices, but it is something to do with lume. When you shine this in UV light, the lume will light up a little picture for you to look at, to have watch nerdy dreams about, and it says Omega was here. I think that Omega have had a huge amount of fun with these models. I think that Omega have waited their turn for the releases, because they weren't at Watches and Wonders, and they've struck gold. I truly believe that. Now, I am an Omega fanboy. Not all of these watches are for me. And actually, I've been avoiding Omega for the last while because Well, because we talk too much about it really on the channel, because I love Omega, but I had to talk about these new models. Now, there will be a new video when we get hands-on with these watches, because they always look different hands-on than they do online. Remember that, please, because it's so true. Please let me know what you think of these new releases. Do you like this new summer blue dial? Do you not like it? Are you a fan? Are you not? Please let me know in the comments. Let's have a conversation. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit that subscribe button. I'd really appreciate it. We're trying to get to our goal of 40 to 50,000 subscribers, which is insane. Thank you so much. My name is Harrison. This is the Chisholm Hunter channel. You guys have been awesome. I'll see you soon.